Faculty Marshal, Dr. Tim Finan, the 2012 Presidential Research Professor and Professor of Computer Science and Electrical Engineering. He is joined by Staff Marshals, Mr. Paul Ciata, the 2012 recipient of the Presidential Distinguished Staff Award for Professional Staff, and Technical Coordinator and Facilities Manager for Physics. And Ms. Cheryl Johnson, 2012 Presidential Distinguished Staff Award recipient for non-exempt staff and Grants Specialist in the Office of Contract and Grant Accounting. The faculty and staff marshals are carrying batons that the UMBC Alumni Association gave to the university in honor of our 40th anniversary in 2006. The platform party is led by the Grand Marshal, Mr. Tim Noe, President of the Faculty Senate and Associate Professor of Visual Arts. The Grand Marshal carries the University Mace, which is a symbol of presidential authority. Used only on formal academic occasions, it is carried in the procession immediately before the President.
On behalf of the faculty, staff, and administration of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, welcome to UMBC's 2012 Convocation. Please rise for the singing of our national anthem. Please be seated. It is with great pleasure that I introduce Ms. C.J. Randalls, UMBC's Assistant Vice Provost in the Office of Undergraduate Education. This office, under the leadership of Vice Provost and Dean Diane M. Lee, oversees the development and delivery of programs that enrich the undergraduate educational experience. Examples include first-year seminars, UMBC's new summer bridge program, the Collegiate Success Institute, known best as CSI, and Introduction to an Honors University seminars for freshmen and transfer students. The office also developed and oversees undergraduate research initiatives, including Undergraduate Research Awards, Undergraduate Research and Creative Achievement Day, and publication of the UMBC Review, our research journal, that is written, edited, and designed by our students. Please welcome Assistant Vice Provost Randalls to the stage.
It is indeed an honor for me to have this opportunity to welcome you to UMBC on behalf of Dean Lee. This is indeed a very special time in your life, and I'm quite sure you're tired of hearing that, but it is true. Not only are you about to embark on a period of self-discovery, but you are about to make that journey in a community of scholars for whom learning is a way of life. So how might you envision this new community? One of my favorite poems that I've shared on other occasions is Indra's Net, and I share a portion of it with you. There is an endless net of threads throughout the universe. At every crossing of the threads, there is an individual, that would be you. And every individual is a crystal bead with your own reflection. And every crystal bead reflects not only the light of every other crystal in the net, but also every other reflection throughout the entire universe. For me, this poem illustrates how important it is for each of us to grow in understanding the role we play as individuals, but to be even more acutely aware of how we impact the lives of others. We come from diverse places. The flags illustrate this on a global scale. But we each bring with us the values and experiences that characterize us. Who will you be as a member of this community? What will you share with us? How can we support you in reaching your academic and personal goals? How will you carry UMBC out into the broader community? As you study abroad, participate in research, engage in community service, as you give back to those who have supported you in being here today. I think we often forget how our decisions impact others. We think we are moving in our own little world, but actually that is not the case. For those who attended the academic sessions on Sunday afternoon in the middle of the monsoon, I might add, we looked at how even your classroom behaviors have an impact on the learning opportunities of those sitting in the classroom with you and on the faculty members' ability to convey information to you, or to help in facilitating a conversation about an important context. My point is that as part of the net, your contribution matters. Each of us makes an impact as we move through each day, interacting with each other in ways that appear on the surface to be insignificant. But to the person we are passing on the sidewalk, may make all the difference in the world in how they perceive their connection to UMBC. Here is what I have observed thus far. In the middle of a monsoon, you came. You were on time. You were respectful of your colleagues. You listened attentively. You asked good questions. You shared your experiences, and you were willing to consider what was shared with you. You made that experience a success for all of us. That is what you have the ability to do in everything you participate in at UMBC. For sure, you will be the architect of your journey, but you have the opportunity to expand your horizons by taking in all of the diversity of experiences that this university has to offer, to become larger than you are today. As Margaret Wheatley notes, there is no power greater than a community discovering what it cares about. So be brave enough to start conversations that matter. Be intrigued by the differences you hear. Invite in anyone who cares to work on what is possible. You are on your way. Welcome to UMBC. We look forward to your contributions, knowing that we too will grow because of your presence in our community. Thank you. I am now pleased to introduce Dr. Philip Rouse, UMBC's Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs. Dr. Rouse is responsible for all aspects of the academic program, including instruction, research, academic support services, and enrollment management. Dr. Rouse.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. Welcome to UMBC and welcome home. This ceremony marks an important event in your lives and the life of our university. And today you become the newest members of the exceptional scholarly community we call our UMBC. And you assume all the rights and responsibilities that such a tremendous opportunity brings with it. I'd like to begin by sharing with you a quote that's often attributed to Thomas Jefferson, and it goes like this: I'm a great believer in luck, and I find the harder I work, the more luck I seem to have. We all recognize that your presence here today is not due to luck or circumstance, but comes from years of hard work and commitment to the pursuit of excellence by each and every one of you, supported by your family, friends, and your teachers. A few moments ago, I used the word scholarly community to describe our university, and I'd like to spend a few moments and share with you a little bit about what that means to us, the idea of scholarly community. Our scholarly community is made up of you, our students, our outstanding faculty, and our staff, and we all work together towards the common goal of advancing the understanding of our own humanity and the natural world that surrounds us. And we do this through teaching and learning and discovery. We support each other and learn from each other, whether it's in the classroom, the laboratory, the library, or our residence halls. Membership in our scholarly community confers great benefits and provides you with the opportunities that most people never get to experience. For the next few years, you're going to be surrounded by very smart people with backgrounds and life experiences that are very different from your own. You will have the opportunity to think deeply about things you're passionate about. You'll also have the opportunity to broaden your perspective and explore new subjects and important questions that cannot be answered within a single discipline. You will by now be aware of the general education requirements we have established in order for all of our students to graduate. You might be forgiven for thinking that the purpose of these requirements is so that you can learn a little bit about everything. Nothing could be further from the truth. To understand what we now call general education is to understand the foundation of liberal education. In other words, it provides you with the intellectual skills and perspectives to contribute to our society as a free and engaged citizen. So I want you to think about general education not as a set of rules for graduation. You should think of it as a tremendous opportunity, and I encourage you to explore and be driven by your own curiosity. Choose courses and experiences in subjects you are passionate about, or know nothing about, or always wished you could study while being uncertain about whether or not it matches what seem to be your natural talents. Now, the final subject I want to talk to you about today concerns one of the core values of our scholarly community. And in order to do that, I want to share with you my best interpretation of a little bit of a history. I was trained as a physicist, so you'll have to forgive me for sharing this with you, but I think you might find this interesting, and it speaks to a value of our community that I'd like to communicate to you. Sir Thomas More was a scholar and statesman who became the leading humanist of the Renaissance era. The play A Man for All Seasons, which you may have seen, was based on the life of Sir Thomas More, who was Chancellor of England and Cardinal, who refused to modify his belief that divorce for convenience was not allowed. And this was despite the pressures from King Henry VIII, who wanted to annul his marriage and marry Anne Boleyn. Thomas More eventually lost everything, as he would not sign what was called the Act of Succession and permit this divorce and marriage to take place. Now, in the film adaptation of the play, there is a scene in which Sir Thomas is imprisoned in the Tower of London, where all of his writing and reading materials have been taken away. And in that scene, he sits before a window of his cell in the tower, and in the image that we see the passing of the seasons outside, the spring, the summer, the fall, and the winter. This is, of course, a striking visual metaphor for the constancy of More's beliefs and values as represented in his actions, despite the most challenging circumstances we can imagine. Despite its Latin roots, the word integrity, as we now understand it today, emerged into common use during this period. And put simply, what it means is aligning your actions with your values and principles. With the growth of education and with research emerged a fundamental and shared set of values of what we call today academic integrity. This means aligning our actions as members of a scholarly community with the core values and principles of scholarship. We can think of this as 5 fundamental values of honesty, trust, fairness, respect, and responsibility. And derived from these values are the principles of behavior that allow scholarly communities such as our own to translate thought into action. Academic freedom can only flourish in a community of scholars which recognizes intellectual integrity and its accompanying rights and responsibilities. Observing basic honesty in one's work, ideas, actions is a principle to which all members of our community are required to subscribe. So I want to emphasize that this is not in any sense about what you might call cheating or anything like that, although that's of course the most serious violation of all 5 of those principles. Academic integrity is actually built on conversations and learning how these values are embodied in our university. And as you begin this semester, our faculty will share with you more about academic integrity. We understand that it may seem to you that there are some grey areas. For example, how we expect you to acknowledge the work of other scholars through citation. So we really encourage every one of you to reach out to our faculty and ask about anything you are uncertain about. So in conclusion, I'd like to welcome you to UMBC once again. And I'll leave you with the words of Mahatma Gandhi, who said, "Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live together." Thank you. And now it's my great privilege to introduce Kailash Rahu, President of your Student Government Association. Kailash is... Thank you. So Kailash is a senior majoring in political science with a legal policy minor. She's a Sondheim public affairs scholar and a member of the UMBC mock trial team, which she helped start. She was also a resident advisor in both her sophomore and junior years, and on graduation she plans to attend law school and is interested in working in the juvenile justice system. So Kailash.
Thank you, Dr. Rouse. Good afternoon and welcome to UMBC. My name is Kailash Ramu and I'm your student government president. You might be sitting here feeling nervous about your first day of class, but I can assure you that your first day will probably start off better than mine did. I got into a car accident a couple of weeks before classes started, and unfortunately, my car wasn't in the best condition. This meant I wasn't getting to experience the independence I wanted on my first day, but instead I was getting a ride to campus from my dad. I was embarrassed. I had this fear that it was going to be extremely difficult to make friends as a commuter, and the lack of independence I was feeling didn't make things any better. My first class of the day was English, and there were only about 20 students in the room. I started to feel out of place as I realized most of the students already knew each other because they lived on the same floor together. So instead of jumping into conversation, I decided to flip through my textbook, eagerly waiting for class to start. I remember flipping through the pages, trying to seem as if I was comfortable, when all of a sudden someone sat next to me. Instead of letting me read in peace, he interrupted me and started introducing himself, and kept asking me question after question. As annoying as I thought he was at that moment, I had made a connection with someone who would be a great friend to me throughout my UMBC experience. As out of place as I felt, Colin, who you will hear from moments from now, had been one of the many smiling faces that helped me find my way through my first year experience. When I told him how I was getting a ride to campus, he didn't laugh, but told me how I could always stop by his dorm if I needed a place to relax. As a commuter, it was a relief to find friends like Colin that would let me crash on campus whenever I needed a study break. The fact that he and my peers didn't seem to care when I told them I was getting a ride to campus really showed me that UMBC was a warm and welcoming community. I started to realize that UMBC was a clean slate, a completely fresh start where I could be myself and not worry about judgment. As my freshman year progressed, I started to find several homes across campus. Whether it was a friend like Colin, the library, or the SJA office, I always had a place that I could feel comfortable. So take a look around at the people you're sitting with today, and don't be surprised if that person ends up speaking with you 3 years later at Convocation. You see, little did I know that Colin, who I met at my first day of class, would be speaking with me today. And it was an even bigger surprise to find out I would be speaking to you as your student body president. When I saw the Student Government Association at Involvement Fest, the event you all will attend next Wednesday to join clubs and organizations, I had no intention of joining the student government. I remember seeing a bunch of them in their bright highlighter yellow shirts, and I never thought I'd ever find myself wearing that bright yellow with so much pride a semester later. My initial thought was that SGA planned homecoming and played pretend government, but I quickly realized I was wrong when a couple of SGA members approached me and asked me if I wanted to help them lobby in Annapolis. I was surprised that they were so willing to reach out to a freshman and teach me everything I needed to know to make my voice heard. That's how I got pulled into an environment that for the past 3 years has challenged me to step outside of my comfort zone and grow as a member of this community. It helped me realize that your college education is more than what you learn in the classroom. I was no longer solely focused on the prerequisites I needed to get a high-paying job, but the exposure I could get outside of the classroom to make me a more engaged member of UMBC. 3 years ago, when I sat at my convocation listening to the speeches, I remember the SJA president at the time talking about how she never expected to be student body president. She also mentioned how you can't really predict how your UMBC journey plays out, but that no matter what it is, it will be an unforgettable one. She was absolutely right. I never expected to even be a member of student government, but the experiences I have had outside of the classroom have completely changed my outlook on my career goals. The past 3 years have been filled with personal growth and exploration. I've learned from textbooks, professors, roles in student organizations, and from my experiences working in the community. When I talk about the community, I don't just mean Baltimore City and the Catonsville area, but the community that is our UMBC, this college campus. So I want to make it clear that I'm not telling you that you have to join your student government, but what I am saying is that you need to put yourself out there and embrace the unexpected. I guarantee you that if you step outside of your comfort zone, you can make this experience extremely rewarding. Find the activities that you're passionate about and hold on to them. Whether you join the chess club, Greek life, a dance team, or a cultural organization. My question to you is, how will you make your mark here and help make this community more than it already is? We only have about 4 years at our undergraduate institution, and trust me, it goes by faster than you could ever imagine. So find a way to leave your paw print here at UMBC. Once again, I welcome you to the home of the Retrievers. One of our traditions at UMBC is to invite the current Presidential Teaching Professor recipient to address new students at Convocation. The Presidential Teaching Award, honoring exemplary dedication and achievements, is given to just one faculty member each year. Today, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Terry Boughton, Associate Professor of History and recipient of the 2012 Presidential Teaching Award. Dr. Boughton joined the UMBC faculty in 2001. Today, as Associate Professor of History, he is a nationally recognized scholar in American and Revolutionary and Early Republic history, and teaches a number of different courses. His courses are in great demand by both undergraduate and graduate students. Please welcome Dr. Boughton.
Thank you. Welcome. This is going to be a fast and furious speech about the pursuit of academic excellence at college. These kinds of speeches are designed to inspire and to motivate, speak of lofty goals and ideals, and dramatize points with examples of people who overcame impossible odds to achieve astonishing things. The message is that you can achieve greatness too. So we hear about a woman who had been lost at sea as an infant in the Arctic wild, who was raised by harp seals. Although she only learned to speak at the age of 12, she earned 7 advanced degrees by the age of 15. By the age of 18, she had launched an incredibly successful multi-million-dollar startup based on numerous patents she holds for path-breaking artificial heart technology. Right? If she can overcome being raised by harp seals to achieve greatness, just think of what you can do. This isn't a speech like that. This is not that speech. This is not that speech. It's not about astonishing, freakish, otherworldly greatness. It's about reasonably attainable greatness. Greatness for the rest of us. Ordinary greatness. Now, I am not belittling ordinary greatness. I count myself among its ranks. This is greatness for those of us living complicated lives with numerous and conflicting demands. It's greatness for those with good intentions who lose focus or procrastinate or feel overwhelmed. Right? It's greatness for those having trouble writing, those who look at the course catalog and dread the language requirement, or taking a lab science, or taking math for non-majors. It's greatness for those who like TV a little bit too much, spend a little bit too much time playing video games or on the internet. It's greatness for those who are raised by harp seals in the Arctic wild, but who struggle academically because, you know, they were raised by harp seals and not everybody bounces back from that kind of thing. Today, I'm not going to just talk about ordinary greatness. I'm going to give you a tremendous gift, the keys to ordinary greatness itself. I am going to personally hand you the keys to success, by which I mean passing your classes and graduating in a timely fashion. There are 3 keys, each mystical, each essential, each as secretive as the formula for Coca-Cola. And by telling you these keys, I am breaking sacred oaths and vows. But I am going to tell you anyway, because you need these keys, because you deserve these keys. Are you ready for them? Are you ready for them? That's right. You have to earn it. Here they are. Key number 1. Go to class. Now you laugh, but it is shocking how many of you will lose this key. You are sitting right here now thinking, oh no, this won't happen to me. I'm highly motivated. He's talking about someone else, not me. But then you leave here and something happens. And for many of you, what happens is college. No parents. No set bedtime. No school office calling your parents if you ditch class. Dorms filled with young people, some of them old enough to buy alcohol. Someone always hanging out in the commons room at every hour of the day or night. Clubs, fraternities and sororities, sports to play, big screen TVs all over campus. So many fun distractions. So many reasons to stay up late and sleep in. So many reasons to miss just this one class, and then just one more, and oh, missing another won't hurt. And then cold and flu season rolls around, and you get sick, and you miss more classes, and before you know it, you've missed so many classes, you're hopelessly behind. Listen to me. The phrase, just this one class, is a gateway drug to academic doom. Do not give in to temptation. Go to class. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying don't have fun. I think you should have a lot of fun here. This should be a fantastic time in your life. You should take advantage of all, or nearly all, or at least legally all, of what college has to offer. But you need to remember that you are here to get an education first and foremost, and that you need to go to class. This leads us to mystical key number 2 to ordinary academic greatness. Do the work. Do the work means lots of things. It means if you have assignments, do them on time. Give them attention and effort. Follow directions. Complete your problem sets. Do your lab experiments. Write your papers. Plan them out. Make an outline. Write rough drafts. Edit. Revise. Proofread. Doing the work means that you don't blow off assignments or do things at the last minute. You start early. You plan ahead. You keep up. This is especially important for those of you involved in sports or activities, or who have jobs or children, or who care for ailing parents. Doing the work means that when you are in class, you pay attention and take notes. Don't surf the web or I am your friends or update your Facebook status or touch up a photo on Instagram or play World of Warcraft or Angry Birds or shoot cartoon zombies in the head. Right? Pay attention. Take notes. Doing the work also means studying for tests. Look, I think it's critical that college students engage in serious intellectual activities, like late-night debates over which TV reality series mother is the bigger train wreck. The shallow, bling-wearing Snooki from Jersey Shore, or the obese toddler pageant-obsessed mother from Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. These are important matters. Debate away. But you also need to remember to do the work. And finally, key number 3, ask for help. The faculty and administration and everyone who works at UMBC wants you to succeed. We are here to help you. But to get help, you often need to ask for it. Asking for help comes in many forms. Asking for help means asking questions in class. You're not foolish for asking a question when you don't understand something. You're foolish for not asking. Asking for help means going to office hours. Many professors sit at their desks at office hours and nobody shows up. We're here to help, to answer questions, to clarify things. Don't be intimidated by us. We're nice people. We got into this line of work because we want to help and to educate. So come to office hours. If you can't make office hours, call or email. And if we don't respond after a day or so, email again. That's actually really important. Email again. We get lots of emails and we sometimes don't get to them all. We have lots of demands and duties. So if we don't get back immediately, don't get mad. Don't take it personally. Just email again. Be polite, be persistent, and we'll get back to you. Asking for help also means taking advantage of other help that's available here. There's lots of help here. There's a great writing center, a great learning resource center, teaching assistants, academic advisors, resident advisors, counselors. These people are here to help you. Go to them. Finally, asking for help means asking early. Don't wait until it's too late. Ask when you start to get lost or fall behind, not at the end of the semester. Don't email asking for help at 2 a.m. the night before an exam. You're not going to get it. Ask early. You'll get help. Ask late. We can't help you. So if you need help, you have to ask, and you have to do it early enough that we get you the help you need. So those are the three sacred keys to ordinary academic greatness. Go to class, do the work, ask for help. Hold on to them, treasure them, and they will unlock the door to college success. Thank you. I am pleased to introduce Mr. Colin Wojciechowski, who is a member of the Extraordinary Greatness Club, not the Ordinary Greatness Club. Colin is the immediate past student member of the USM Board of Regents. Colin is a senior with a double major in media and communication studies and political science, with minors in history and public administration. He is a Sondheim Public Affairs Scholar, the former opinion editor of the Retriever Weekly, and has held the position of Director of SGA Office of Governmental and Community Affairs. Upon graduation, he plans to seek a career in the Maryland General Assembly advocating for public education. And although Colin doesn't like to talk about it, he was also raised by harp seals in the Arctic wild. So, will you please welcome Colin?
Well, thank you very much and good afternoon. As Dr. Boughton said, my name is Colin Wojciechowski and I'm a senior here at UMBC majoring in media and communication studies. You know, it's funny, those words almost sound surreal when I say them out loud, senior here at UMBC. In the most cliche way possible, it really seems like only yesterday that I sat exactly where you find yourself now, feeling the same way I'm sure many of you find yourselves today. Anxious, excited, nervous, confused, maybe a little bit hungry, and looking forward to what comes next in your college experience. College is a big step for everyone, but I felt as though this burden weighed especially heavy on me. I was shy and timid, uneasy about how to make friends, unsure how I would find where I would fit in, and knew my ways through the halls of the Annapolis legislature far better than my Susquehanna dorm. In my mind, I had made the decision that I would be perfectly content spending my time at UMBC in my room, watching movies and eating potato chips, studying alone at my dimly lit desk and only seeing the light of day to attend class and maybe go for a jog. But on my first day of class here at UMBC, I'll never forget it, and as you've heard, I decided I would be courageous and maybe say a few words to whoever would be sitting next to me. And it just so happens that person sitting next to me was the woman you heard speak and would become our SGA president, Kailash Ramu. Now, she tells the story that I annoyingly followed her around. My memory tells me that it was the reverse. But my memory's also not that good, so I guess we'll stick with the president's word. This was my first step forward, and I decided I would never look back. I had tasted the air of friendship, discussion, and involvement and decided this was what UMBC would be for me. Along with Kailash, I joined the SGA, and before I knew it, I went from staffer to director to newspaper editor to student member of the University System of Maryland Board of Regents, all because I decided there would be more in college for me than what I found in my assigned readings. There is a point to this story, besides laying out how obviously cool I am, and that is what you get out of college should be more than what you find in textbooks and lecture halls. Unless you have social development, academic development is useless. You are here to learn outside the classroom as much as you are asked to learn in it. This story I told is not unique to me or overly special or any bright, shining example of something that only happens once in a blue moon. This is the story of countless UMBC students. This is really the story of UMBC. No matter how outgoing or how shy you may be now, this can and will be your story one day. All you have to do is write it. And so remember as you go forward, from the moment you leave the arena today, your collegiate experience is 100% what you make it. You get out what you put in. Never should anyone at UMBC utter the phrase, "I'm bored." There's a world of opportunity here waiting for you to be a part of it. It may be at the cookout this afternoon, It may be in the student organization you're just bold enough to join. It may be getting to know your floor mates better, or like me, it may simply be sitting next to you in your first class tomorrow. Wherever it is, go out and find it. Thank you and have a great year. It is now my distinguished honor and pleasure to introduce the president of UMBC, Dr. Freeman Hrabowski. Dr. Hrabowski has served as president since 1992, bringing great energy, vision, and leadership to the university. This year, President Obama appointed him chair of the newly created President's Advisory Commission on Educational Excellence for African Americans, which provides counsel to the President and the Secretary of Education. Also this year, Time magazine named him one of the 100 most influential people in the world. He also has been honored with 2 of the highest awards for higher education leaders, the Carnegie Corporation's Academic Leadership Award and the Theodore Hesburgh Award for Leadership Excellence. He has been instrumental in connecting UMBC with companies, foundations, agencies, and individuals who helped us launch and sustain such programs as the Sondheim Public Affairs, Linehan Artists, Sherman Teachers, and Meyerhoff Scholars programs for high-achieving students. Dr. Hrabowski is also known for taking a personal interest in all UMBC students. Don't be surprised if he stops you while you are walking or in an elevator and asks you what grade you earned on your last exam. It'll happen. He is dedicated to ensuring that all students reach their goals and achieve their potential. Please join me in welcoming our president, Dr. Freeman Hrabowski.
Thank you. It's very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that's nice. Oh. It's amazing. Wow, Good afternoon. I want you first to join me in congratulating everybody who's spoken so far. They've been amazing, from Colin to Kalish to the provost to there. They've been amazing. And the reason we are considered one of the best universities in the country is that we have great students and an unbelievably talented group of faculty and staff. I'm going to ask them to stand, and I'm going to ask you to give them a standing ovation. The faculty, would you all stand, please? Really nice. We are an amazing community. I am beginning with an email I received at 1:26 this morning from a student who's a part of a very special group of young people who are a part of something called iCubed. Where are they? Stand up if you are a part of iCubed. Stand up and let them see them. Give them a hand. Give them a hand. Now, this is what I want you to know. I'm not going to even tell you what iCubed is. They're going to tell you. Ask them what group they are a part of. But this is the first thing I want to say. I asked them yesterday to give me some advice about what I might say to the freshmen, the different scholars groups, the different community groups that are here, and they gave me some great advice. And one person wrote an email, and I wanted you to know that the messages they gave me, and the provost was listening, were exactly the messages you've heard from our wonderful faculty member, from all the people on the staff today. I mean, when Terry was speaking and you were laughing, he was telling you about the wisdom when the president of student government, by the way, Colin Wojciechowski was the best student regent we've ever seen in Maryland. Give Colin a big hand for that. I really mean that. And what I said to those students, your colleagues, freshmen, tell me what you think I should talk about tomorrow. As I talk, I want you to hear what they said and think about the messages from other people, which reaffirms things you know. What we're telling you are not things you don't know. They're things that you've thought about, things that you consider important, but sometimes hearing them from different people in different ways can be very helpful. They said to challenge yourselves, and I should make it clear, it's important to challenge yourself, to broaden yourself beyond your comfort zone, to get to know people different from yourself, to keep an open mind, to be ready to help other people, to look for connections across disciplines. It was amazing to hear them, my colleagues, to hear students talking about understanding. You can really understand connections across disciplines, but also connections across people from different kinds of backgrounds. So the importance of networking. Someone said, take responsibility for your mistakes. If you make a mistake, just tell people you're sorry and move ahead. Others talked about starting to look for internships and research experiences as soon as possible. You heard this one. They said, don't be afraid to ask for help. Everyone needs help at some point. To appreciate that this is different from high school, to show interest in your classroom to teachers, and they said, get to know your professors. Find out your professor's story. Someone said, you know, when you know something about a professor as a human being, it makes all the difference in the world. You will find our colleagues are here today to say to you, we are welcoming you. We know you are extremely bright. We connect with you. We will share our stories. And so last night, I got this amazing email, and I just want to read a few sentences. I had asked the students this question. I gave them a quote from Robert Browning, "Oh, that a man's reach should exceed his grasp," or what's a heaven for? And I said, when you get a chance, tell me what you think it means. Tell me why you think I asked you about that quote. He said many things, but a part that was so fascinating, Professor Brown, you'll appreciate this. They stayed up last night talking. But this is what he said. For about 2 hours last night, everybody on my floor in Patapsco Hall got together in our study room to hang out and chat. And before we knew it, we were getting into really deep discussions about race and education and the challenges our future generation faces that others may not have faced. And we began looking at our lives in high school. And one thing we seemed to have in common, this was very interesting, faculty, was that we all realized we really hadn't reached our fullest potential. That we had an opportunity now, because this is a new world from high school, to keep open minds and to put ourselves in a situation where we can go to the next level. And then it said this, and I kept laughing early this morning. He said, from the day that you got here, he said, when you unpacked your things on Saturday, when we unpacked our things on Saturday, to the next couple of weeks, we get a very special, a rare opportunity. We get to decide who we want to be. Some of us, it said, someone may have been a jerk in high school, or a jock, or someone different from who you want to be today. He said, but today you get a chance to think about exactly who you want to be, and that's who everybody will know you as. And so his message to me was that somehow all of you have the chance right now to think about the possibilities, to dream about who you want to be, and to shape that image into reality. Convocation, in Latin, the word actually means coming together. At UMBC, this is a special time when we do just that. We come together to welcome you. I was telling the students yesterday that they were smart, and somebody said, you know, it feels good to be told I was smart. Well, let me tell you something. Everybody in here is very smart. Give yourselves a hand. You are very, very smart. Very smart. And while you may not have worked as hard as you will come to work, you have worked harder than a lot of your classmates in high school. A lot of people were working to get into UMBC, unfortunately didn't make it. You've got a lot of valedictorians, salutatorians, straight A students, a lot of AP credits. All of you, though, came here because you know it is a serious university. This is a place where you can have a good time. You're going to talk about extracurricular activities, but it's also a place where you'll be involved in research. You'll be looking at redesigned courses. You'll have service learning. You've got living learning floors. You've got intellectual competitions and the Baja competition and cybersecurity and ethics bowl and chess, all kinds of things. This is a place where literally 50% of all of the Division I athletes earned above a 3.0 last year. Give all of our athletes a big hand for that. it's important that you have some sense of who we are as a university, and it's always important to know one's history. Most other institutions in America were founded at a time when institutions were segregated. If you were white, you went to one institution. If you were black, you went to another. And there were all of these segregated institutions. And yet, during the 60s, a period when your parents were in college, the fact is, or sometimes in middle school, I guess, for your parents, they're really young, right? The fact is that there was the civil rights movement, the anti-war movement, and it was a time of tragedy. President Kennedy was killed. I'll never forget that. 1963, I'm going to talk about. It was a very special time. And in that same period, in the 60s, you had churches being bombed, little girls were killed in my city, my friends. And everybody was frightened, not knowing what was going to happen. You had all kinds of tragedies, from Reverend King dying, Senator Kennedy dying. But at the same time, with all of that turmoil, all of a sudden you had the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, the Higher Education Act. And for the first time, America was saying, let's bring people of all types together and give them a chance to get to know each other and to build the strength of our country by giving everybody opportunities. Well, amazingly, here we sit today, because UMBC was founded right after all of that happened, right in the midst of it, in fact, in 1966. And the progress we have made as a country as a result of that period is that we've gone from only 10% of Americans with a college degree to 30% with a college degree. And the challenge is to keep moving those numbers up. People who are over 35 in America are the most educated people in the world, with the exception of two countries, people in Canada and people in Israel. But we're third. But when you go beyond 35, if you go to the age 25 to 34, that group goes down to rank number 15, because other countries are making more progress than we are. And we are saying, as a nation, as we attract people from around the world, that we want to see more of our students becoming educated. And the real challenge is that half of the students who begin college don't graduate. This is the challenge that we face. You know, when I was in college, the dean said, look at the student to your left, look at the student to your right, and then he said, one of you will not graduate. Well, if I'm at all insecure, I'm going to say, oh my goodness, he's talking about me. I'm not going to do well, so I may as well be part of this year because I'm out of here anyway next year. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But what we say at UMBC, and I want you to follow my instruction, look at the student to your left, look at the student to your right. Our goal is to make sure all three of you graduate, and if you don't, we fail, and we don't plan to fail, and I know you don't. Give yourselves a hand for graduating. Today, I was delighted when one of our professors from psychology, Professor Catania, came by, and he brought me a copy of his new edition of a book entitled Learning. And there was a quote in the book that was fitting so well with what I'm telling you right now, and it's what you've heard others say today. In the book, he says this: what the student does is what the student learns. Let me say that again. What the student does is what the student learns. Students are not vessels into which knowledge is to be poured. And his point is this: you have the power to shape your education. This is why Professor Bowden was talking about going to class and doing your homework. The idea is that you will be the ones to determine how well you do. I have no doubt that you will do superbly. Yesterday, many of you participated in the new student book experience, and this book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, an amazing book, not only about scientific and medical miracles, but about this intersection of race and poverty and medical ethics. Many of you will go into fields from philosophy to medicine, where you'll be studying these kinds of questions that will come up for the rest of your lives. Well, the book experience is designed to push you intellectually and to get you thinking about how you consider things right and wrong, and the process you use, and why it's important to study the arts and humanities and social sciences so you can put these challenges in perspective. Some of you are a bit nervous right now. Let me ask you this: how many of you know what you're going to major in? How many of you are not sure? It's okay not to be sure. And many of you who are majoring in one thing may change it slightly. Give yourselves time. Keep an open mind. You will be amazed. How many of you have looked at the courses you have to take in the general education program? Have you looked at them? How many of you know those courses are really important? You know, often I'll hear students saying, well, I've got to get these courses out of the way so I can get to my major. I don't think there's anything I can say academically that's more important than the fact that this program we have for you, this general education program, is designed to broaden you, to have you well-grounded in the humanities and the social sciences, to get you to think about the big questions of the day. What does it mean to be an educated human being in the 21st century? What does it mean to be one of the most powerful nations in the world? How should we treat other countries? What does it mean to be on a campus with students from 150 countries? How do we get to know these people? How do we learn from them as they learn from me? And this is all about a liberal education. What precisely do we mean by liberally educated? The word liberal comes from the Latin adjective liber, meaning free. The word education comes from both the Latin verb duco, meaning to lead, and the prefix e, which means out of. And so a liberal education means the free act of leading out of. But most of us would say it means a liberal education is associated with free people. In older times, it was, unlike servants or slaves, a person who had the time to cultivate the intellect. And today we often say liberal education is education for its own sake. You want to know because you dare to know. Because when you know more, you understand more about the world. One of my heroes and a mentor of mine was the president of Dartmouth, the late James Friedman, who, to the graduating class, his last year's president, said this: "A liberal education that lasts a lifetime will inspire you to strengthen the foundation of your moral identity and to explore the ordeal of being human. The drama of confronting the darker side of the self, the responsibility of imposing meaning on your life and society, the challenge of transcending the ambiguity-entangled counsel of arrogance and modesty, egotism and altruism, emotion and reason, opportunism and loyalty, individualism and conformity." You know, when you were in the 12th grade, people thought of you as teenagers, boys and girls, getting ready to go to college. Well, now you're young college men and women. You are students, you are scholars. If you talk to your professors, they will tell you they and I are all students and scholars. We are studying all the time. When somebody is writing a book, when they're working on a project, when they're working in a lab, when they're studying theatrical production and determining interpretation, they are students. And so we are inviting you to come to us as just that, students. Now, it turns out that the professors really do know not only how to learn, but how to teach you to learn. Our challenge is to support you, to inspire you to think about the questions of your life. Robbie, a Nobel laureate, said that when he was growing up in New York, all of his friends' parents would often ask them at the end of a school day, "What did you learn in school today?" He said, "But not my Jewish mother. My Jewish mother would say, 'Izzy, did you ask a good question today?' And he said the practice of her encouraging his curiosity made him the thinker he became." Well, that's what we're going to get you to do. We're going to ask you to ask good questions. One of the students said yesterday, tell them there's no such thing as a stupid question. Just get it out there, ask it and think about it, and keep bringing yourself to do that. And that's why so many of our students are this year graduating and going on from Harvard to Stanford to NYU to Penn to Hopkins to the Maryland Medical and Law School. You name the place, to the NYU school, Tisch School. One of our students, I was really proud of him, wonderful young man who competed against 900 people for 16 slots in the Tisch School of the Arts at NYU. It's as good as you get in theater. And out of 900 people, he was selected as one of those 16 kids, beating out a lot of kids from Yale. Give UMBC Theater a hand for being so good. And so I want you to be passionate about your work. I want you to get involved. I want you to go in and get involved in the study sessions. That's what iCube is about. It's about learning how to work in groups, because we want all of you to work in groups. Go to the performances. You're going to find it amazing. And with this new Performing Arts and Humanities building, give that building and the faculty who will be there a big hand. It's going to be a great success, really. I am telling you, between dance performances and the orchestra and the camerata and the theatrical performances, you can be in New York right on our campus. When you see that there are performances, just get in there. You will be transformed. It's like going around the world and staying on this campus, and get involved in other activities. You know, the UMBC Review and Bartleby are the two very prestigious undergrad research journals on this campus, and the student government and the retrieval learning. You're going to see all of this. The president of the student government told you, you're going to have a chance to get involved. Everybody, when young, can be a little shy. It's okay. How many of you would admit you're just a bit shy? Tell the truth. It's all right to be shy. How many of you would be comfortable right now getting up and speaking to the whole group? Let me see. It's very nice. But the rest of you will get there because you learn to do by doing. This is your new home. You know, the one thing I want you to think about is this, and I bring this up every year. It's important to balance your new freedom with a heightened sense of responsibility. Every year, listen to this. This is as serious as I could ever be. Every year, while under the influence of alcohol, more than 1,800 college students die, 5 per day. Take this entire group, add 600 or so more onto it, and you've got 18-year-olds to 22-year-olds dying because of alcohol. In fact, it says here nearly 600,000 are accidentally injured, 700,000 are assaulted by another student under the influence, 100,000 are victims of alcohol-related sexual assault or date rape, and approximately 1 out of every 4 students will report that drinking has hurt them academically. And so while it may seem the cool thing to do to get drunk, I'm telling you, every weekend I get a call that means a student has almost or has already been taken to the hospital. Because if someone is inebriated and goes to sleep, that person can die from choking. It is as serious. It may seem like a fun thing, but I'm telling you, please, you are older than you think you are, and you will be given a great deal of freedom. You are the most amazing freshman class UMBC has ever had. You're the largest and most amazing class. Grades, achievements, artistic accomplishments. I want you to take full advantage of this environment and to know how much we believe in you. But I want you to look in the mirror and realize you are older than you think you are. You know, this is the beginning of this 2012-13 academic year. 50 years ago, I could never have imagined standing here looking at a group like you. 50 years ago, there was not a group looking like you anywhere in America. It would not have been possible for you to sit with people different from yourselves, to talk about learning and studying and loving each other and caring about what happens with the ideas as you discuss them. I was beginning my 9th grade year. I'd skipped a couple of grades, so I was 11 at this point. I was turning 12, and I was going to the 9th grade, and I was a fat little nerd, loving math. It never would have occurred to me that during this year, before the year was out, that I would hear a man saying that if children get involved in the civil rights movement, we can get them to better schools. And the first thought I had was, it would mean that I could for the first time maybe not have hand-me-down books from the white kids. Maybe not be in an environment where people said I wasn't as good as other people. Maybe be able to drink out of a water fountain or go to the bathroom. And it was so strange because all of my life I had been told by the outside world that I was second class. While my parents and my church and my teachers said, Freeman, believe in yourself. You are a human being. You are a child of God. You can do anything. Believe in yourself. But when he said we could get involved, I said, I want to go. And so I marched with Dr. King and these children. 50 years ago, I went to jail and had a horrible time for 5 days. And in the middle of that experience, Dr. King came with our parents. And we were looking out of the bars, and he said, what you do this day will have an impact on children yet unborn. Well, here you sit today with opportunities to do anything. As Dan said, the young man who wrote that email, Dan, if you're in the room, first, would you please stand? I wanted you to stand. Are you here? Is Dan here? Give him a hand, would you? Dan, when I heard you saying that you were talking about education and race, and when you were saying yesterday, people were saying to me yesterday, I've never been in such a diverse environment. I've not known what it meant to be around. And they said, we have to learn how to get to know people from other backgrounds. I was so deeply moved, I couldn't help but think, 50 years ago, people were working so that you could sit here today, so this place could be a concept for America at its very best. And that is who we have become. And so I want you to remember this. The Breaking Ground program that we have at UMBC now focuses on civic engagement. It's your chance to be involved in changing the world. Get involved in that exercise, Breaking Ground, because it means you years from now will be the person somebody says, you were involved in an effort that did just that. When people come across the stage, they tell me what they plan to do, and there's nothing more significant than when a young person looks me in my eyes and says, Doc, I plan to change the world. If I can go from being a fat little kid at 12 who had no idea about the possibility of this existing, imagine what you can do in the decades ahead as you lead the world, as you transform us to a better place for so many children who have not had what you've had to get here today. And so I challenge you, young people, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Your character has everything to do with who you are, not only when people can see you, but what will you do when you don't think anybody else is watching? There is your character. So thoughts become words, words become actions, actions become habits, habits become character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. The journey begins now. Welcome to UMBC. You are an amazing group. We are so proud of you guys. Our next speaker is Dr. Nancy Young, Vice President for Student Affairs. She and the Student Affairs staff in the residence halls, the commons, the career services, and all the others are working to help you, and they've been getting everything together for you. Give her and her whole staff a big round of applause, would you?
These programs were designed not only to welcome you, but to transmit our traditions, our values, and our high expectations for each of you. Through participating in these events, you learned that UMBC is a place where we value academic excellence, a place where each of us is expected to take action to improve the community that we now share, a place where all members are not only welcomed, but treated with dignity and respect, and a place where members conduct themselves with academic and personal integrity. You also learned that at UMBC, the key to academic and personal success is not only 3 keys, but active involvement both inside and outside of the classroom. The words shared by all of our Convocation speakers today have in some way illustrated and reinforced our values, as well as our hopes and dreams for your future. If you look to your left, you'll see one part of the 3 panels you, this class, developed as part of Welcome Week in Leaving Your Mark. These banners assembled from the hopes and dreams you shared through art during Welcome Week. The banner today is hanging in the arena, but this, along with the other 2 panels, will hang in the Commons throughout your next 4 years here as a symbol of our promise to help you reach your goals and a reminder to each of you to reach high to achieve them. Like the banner, the pin you received as you entered the rack today is a symbol of our commitment to support you. Does each of you have that pin in your hands? Shaped like the paw of True Grit, our Chesapeake Bay Retriever mascot, the pin in your hand is a sign of our commitment, but also of your commitment to the responsibilities and expectations that you accept as a member of our UMBC group. The pin you now hold in your hand serves always as a reminder of our shared values, traditions, and expectations. Having learned of these and having indicated your desire to join this community by attending this ceremony today, there is only one very joyous thing left to do. Dr. Rabowski, will you join me for our pinning? Yep. New students, please stand. Hold the pin you received in your hand. Dr. Rabowski.
Dr. Young.
Faculty, students, and staff, I have the honor of presenting the entering class of 2012 and ask you to join me in recognizing them as full members of UMBC with all privileges and responsibility associated with this membership. Students, I remind you that by accepting this pin, you pledge to make the most of your education while striving to uphold UMBC's highest ideals. Entering class of 2012, I now invite you to place your pin proudly on your shirt or garment as a sign that you are now and forever inextricably a part of the extended UMBC family throughout Maryland and around the world. Faculty, staff, and students, please join me in welcoming them. Congratulations, entering class of 2012. We ask that you now remain standing and invite faculty and staff to rise for the singing of our alma mater.
Do we have it on the screen or not really?
I don't know.
Guesses. Do they have it on their programs? Please remain standing, and please join us now in after we recess to go to True Grit, our residential dining hall, where we will invite you to enjoy a picnic. Please, you've been an amazing audience. You're ready now to study hard, but let's go and have some fun at True Grit. Okay? Please remain standing as we process out. Recess.